Один раз, два, четыре, раз. Один раз, два, четыре, пять. Один раз.
One of the main reasons that I chose this program was to be able to understand different cultures and therefore work in different international.
I'm going to be like walking around. So who's going to change? Who's going to say no? Which that's going to be. Oh, what's going on? Why is that? It works? Yes, it works. Oh, I have to wait like 2 minutes. I hope it passes.
Уважаемые коллеги, сегодня мы собрались для того, чтобы прослушать открытую лекцию профессора Карима Каюми. Профессор Карим Каюми работает в университете Британской Колумбии в Канаде. Это один из ведущих университетов, который входит в топ-100 мировых университетов. Является профессором хирургии и при этом проводит очень серьезные исследования не только в хирургии, но и в целом в современных технологиях для развития медицинского образования. Кроме того, профессор Карим Каюми является региональным директором очень значимой организации, которая называется Королевский колледж врачей и хирургов Канады. Эта организация является одним из лидеров в медицинском образовании, которая признана во всем мире. Недавно наш университет стал университетом, аккредитованным вот этим самым Королевским колледжем Канады. Вот. Ну и доктор Карим Каюми уже несколько лет мы тесно сотрудничаем с ними. Он регулярно приезжает на университет, является нашим надежным другом и партнером в развитии медицинского образования в нашем университете. И сегодня мы прослушаем его лекцию о киберпациенте. И таким образом я передаю слово профессору Кариму Каюми. Welcome, профессор Каюми.
Спасибо большое. Thank you very much for the good introduction. I think we have some smaller problems with technology, particularly when you're presenting technology and you have problems with technology. That's no good. But this is what happens usually in life. So today I've been asked to talk about the new methods of teaching clinical skills. We do have many other methods, as you know, but there is a huge problem, in my opinion, between in medical education. The first problem is the discrepancy between the theory and practice of medicine. Do I speak slow? Do you understand everything? We don't need translation? Я буду говорить очень потихонечку, хорошо? Если не понимаете, спросите меня. Может быть, я могу сказать вам по-русски что-нибудь, хорошо? The problem with the medical education has always been there, because we are very good at delivering theory. We have been doing this for the past thousands of years. But when it comes to delivery of practical medicine, we're not as good as we want it to be. Students are finishing medical school with multiple choice questions. They're getting their diplomas, and when they're going to the ward, they don't know what to do. If you even look at the textbooks in any country, in Russia, in India, in North America, all the textbooks are designed that you start from etiology and pathogenesis of the disease. Then you go to signs and symptoms of the disease. Then you go to treatment, prognosis of the patient, and so on and so forth. So 6 years in your medical school, you think this is how medicine is. But when you finish medical school and you go to the emergency room, the patient is screaming. It's the reverse. You have to go backward and find out the etiology and pathogenesis of the disease. In the clinics, they don't give you etiology and pathogenesis. So medical education has been always taught backwards. Then you need at least 1 or more years to actually adopt your knowledge that you got in medical school into practical medicine. So this is one of the major problems in medical education. So again, I have to be closer here to change, right? Okay, sorry. So by the end of this lecture, you're going to be familiar with the gap between in medical education, the role of patient cyber patient closing this gap. You're going to have a little bit of a history of cyber patient, and you're going to be also be familiar with cyber patient platform. and cyber patient as a learning tool. I can talk to you also a little bit about the future aspects of cyber patient and what we are doing. So here's the problem that I'm illustrating, the problem that I just talk to you about. You see, there is this gap. This gap here between the theory and practice of medicine, and the poor students that are trying to jam the gap, and some that have difficulties, and some still hanging there, and some may fall into the cracks because of the problem we got. It means they're failing, right? Now, what we are trying to do with cyber patient, using the state-of-the-art technology to build a bridge between the theory and practice of medicine. So the students can learn the theory, come work with cyber patient in a cyberspace in a safe environment, kill as many patients as you want, do as much damage as you want, but learn how to do it right. And then you can go to the hospital and you have become a safer person and also more oriented toward clinical work, toward real practice of medicine. So a little bit of the history of cyber patient. Cyber patient was created in year 2000. Actually, I thought this. I had this idea for a long time, as I told you about the about how medical education is taught backward. I was thinking about writing several books on symptomatology of disease. But when I was in Vancouver, I discussed this with my son.
Just do the translation.
Yeah, sure. Sure. Do you want the translation? How many of you want the translation? Don't be shy.
Кому нужен перевод? Поднимите руку. Если нужно, мы включим. Все понимают по-английски? Точно?
А вы поняли, что я сказал? А вы поняли, что я сказал?
Хорошо.
Еще переводить? Хорошо.
Стесняется показать, что...
Окей, хорошо. Yeah. So, начинаем. Continue doing that. Okay. So, I start thinking about writing the series of books on symptomatology of disease. But then my son was also my summer student, and I discussed this with him. I said, I have this idea, and I wanted to use technology to actually create a patient in the cyberspace so that students can go there and do whatever they can do in a clinic.
У меня состоялся разговор с моим сыном, когда я писал книгу по симптоматологии, и у меня возникла идея создать киберпациента, такую платформу, где можно было бы работать с пациентом в электронном формате.
And we did build the cyber patient 1.0. That's why today I'm going to present you the cyber patient 2.0.
И таким образом мы создали программу Киберпациент 1.0. Сегодня же я вам покажу программу Киберпациент 2.0.
Okay. So with cyber patient 1.0, we did a lot of good research. And you can see here in Japan and also in Vancouver, and it proved that I can show you a little bit of that research because I think you would be interested. This is the professors in Japan, Jichi University, where we did the comparative analysis of cyber patient with the textbook. And what we did is we took a multiple choice exam from all the students, and then we did the ASCII exam from all the students, and then we divided the students into different groups, and each group was separate from each other, and one was studying with cyber patient, the other one with textbook.
И в рамках данной программы «Киберпациент 1.0» мы провели достаточно много исследований. Таким образом, были исследования, проведенные в Ванкувере, также исследования, проведенные в Японии. Вы могли видеть исследовательской группы этой фотографию. И мы провели сравнительный анализ занятий студентов по программе «Киберпациент» и занятия по книге. Были этим студентам даны тесты с множественными вариантами ответов, и они прошли через экзамены. Таким образом, было создано несколько групп. Одна группа занималась по тестам и книгам, другая группа занималась по программе «Киберпациент».
Отлично, спасибо. We observed the students' like behavior and saw that the group that was with Geber-Patient, they were very much engaged because it's multimedia based, right? And then the students that were studying the books, some of them after a while you see disappeared, went to the washroom talking, smoking cigarettes, talking to each other. So within 20 to 30 minutes they lost interest. But then we went after, it was for 4 hours. And then after 4 hours, on the third hour, we went and saw the cyber patient group. They were examining each other. They were looking at each other's different signs and symptoms and so on and so forth. So the results was published in the journal of, the British Journal of Education, which is one of the toughest journals in the world. And it did show that the group that was with cyber patient, they were significantly learned better than the textbook.
И при проведении данного исследования было выявлено, что группа, которая занималась по программе «Киберпациент», была гораздо более вовлечена в образовательный процесс, чем та группа, которая занималась обычным образом по книгам. Вы могли увидеть на фотографии, что уже через 20-30 минут та группа, которая занималась по книгам, они потеряли интерес, разошлись, разбрелись по различным аудиториям, кто-то ушел курить, кто-то в туалет. А в группе, которая занималась по программе «Киберпациент», даже через 4 часа студенты были все еще очень активно вовлечены, они друг на друге тестировали различные медицинские манипуляции, они были заинтересованы, и им это все очень нравилось. Результаты данного исследования, вы можете видеть на слайде, были опубликованы в британском журнале «Образование», и этот журнал является достаточно одним из самых высоко цитируемых журналов. И
Yeah. So I was not satisfied with this. So I asked the dean of the school to give me the performance of all the students in that year. And then we plot the performance of the students with the results that we had. And what we found, that actually interesting thing, is that 10% of students who were top of the class and their mark was very high, no matter if they were in cyber patient group or a text group, they got very high mark. But the other 90% who were not doing in school very well or doing really bad, they got the cyber patient very good marks. It's because cyber patient is more interesting to work with, and also as you remember, theory of multiple intelligences by Howard Gardner. So they, with multimedia, some people learn by seeing things, some people learn by listening things, some people learn by touching things, some people learn by memorizing things. So the problem with our education as a whole is that we think the smart people are only those people who has logical mathematical intelligence. What Howard Gardner is saying, that there are many other intelligences that human being should be praised for, not just logical mathematical.
Мгм. И нас не удовлетворили только показатели данной статьи, только сравнение одной группы киберпациента и группы, которые учились по книгам. И мы запросили результаты показателей студентов всего университета. И по данным показателям мы выяснили, что 10% студентов, которые имели хорошие оценки по всему университету, они также хорошо показали себя и в киберпациенте, и по книгам. То есть они одинаково хорошо занимаются и по книгам, и в киберпациенте. Что же касается остальных 90% студентов, которые не являются отличниками, то большая часть из них хорошо себя показала именно в киберпациенте. То есть не у всех интеллект работает таким образом, что они запоминают только логические и математические цепочки. Кто-то лучше запоминает, когда работает руками, кто-то лучше запоминает, когда он это видит, кто-то лучше запоминает, когда он это слышит, кто-то лучше запоминает, когда он производит это в интеракции с каким-то другим человеком. И таким образом в программе «Киберпациент» как раз это все и было задействовано.
And now to tell you just in one word, what's the difference between the CyberPatient 1.0 and 2.0? That 1.0 was made ahead of its time, ahead of the technology. Technology was not there, the idea was there. So we didn't have the bandwidth that we have now. We didn't have the technology languages, the internet languages such as HTML5, JavaScript, and others. So we used only Flash, and we put the CyberPatient in a CD-ROM. So it was not distributed very well. It was not really strong, and it was very difficult and expensive to make another CyberPatient. Each CyberPatient would cost $40,000 to make an additional ones. We had only 12 of them in CyberPatient 1.0, but it was just to prove the concept. Now CyberPatient 0.2, on the other hand, right now is an electronic platform that's on the internet, and anybody from any part of the world can access it, and it is database, and all the engine is on Amazon servers, clouds, and it is a very powerful machine that can run from anywhere in the world and can do much more than CyberPatient 1.0.
И говоря о разнице между программой Киберпациент 1.0 и программой Киберпациент 2.0, следует отметить, что программа Киберпациент 1.0 опережала свое время и те технологии, которые существовали на тот момент. То есть эта программа использовала только флеш и была на CD-ROM, тогда как нынешняя программа использует, например, JavaScript или другие языки программирования. И в Киберпациенте 1.0 было очень сложно производить новых киберпациентов. Это было очень долго, очень дорого. Это стоило порядка $40 тысяч. Сейчас же Киберпациент 2.0 – это электронная платформа в интернете, то есть технологии уже позволяют сделать это полностью электронно, можно получить доступ к этой базе данных из любой точки мира. Это является база данных с облачными технологиями. У нас очень много различных вариантов пациентов, и они являются доступными.
Perhaps you're asking yourself, well, there are some other technologies out there. Of course there are. CyberPatient is not the only technology. But what is the difference? What is the importance of CyberPatient? So the importance of CyberPatient is that CyberPatient provides knowledge and experience in the continuum of care. While other products that you may see out there is for some particular purpose at some particular point of care, for some particular procedures. But this is looking for the continuum of care from history taking to physical examination to diagnosis, investigations, treatment, prognosis. So the CyberPatient, you're taking your hand through the whole continuum of care, and every point of care stops you and discusses things with you. Okay? So,
Translate. И вы можете спросить, в чем же уникальность данной программы Киберпациент 2.0? Да, существуют похожие программы, но наша программа Киберпациент, она позволяет отслеживать пациента в течение длительного, продолжительного времени. То есть другие программы, они направлены на то, чтобы осуществить только какую-то отдельную процедуру, отдельную манипуляцию, тогда как в киберпациенте вы можете пройти практически весь путь от поступления пациента до его выписки и проводить различные типы манипуляций.
Cyber patient may have some other very important impacts, we believe strongly. One is that clinical decision making. There is no technology or book or anything that can teach you clinical decision making. You have to learn it in the ward. And you're learning in the ward, you're imposing the patient into risk. There is ethical and legal issues. That's why educational process in the clinics are very slow, because we're taking your hand, slowly we're taking you through this process so that you don't harm the patient. Having said that, you know that in North America, in the United States, in Canada, very close, 10% of the patient that comes to the hospital is harmed by doctors and nurses. And 2% of them die. Not because they want to, it's because of the problem of applying theory into practice of medicine is not that easy. So what we design Cyber Patient is to improve your clinical decision making. So you make decisions every minute. And it increases also the patient safety, of course. Once you go through the Cyber Patient, then you go to the clinic, you're much safer doctor to practice. And also it improves cost efficiency. Because I was thinking, like, one of the things that nobody teaches in medical school, I've never taught, is the cost of medicine. Where you give an MRI you give a CT scan, or you give something else. You keep patients in the hospital for 2 more days. You don't have ideas how much it costs to the system. And I thought it's very important for the cyber patient to make you aware also of the cost that you are giving to the patient. So it also, I did this for the hospital people to like me also. Now, cyber patient is also... Okay.
Когда проходит обучение в больницах, оно обычно проходит медленно из-за различных этических, правовых барьеров. То есть очень сложные бывают моменты, когда, например, те пациенты, которых ведут резиденты, которых ведут доктора, они умирают. Как правило, из 10% пациентов 2% умирают по тем или иным причинам. И в данной программе, в киберпациенте, как раз она позволяет наработать те навыки клинического мышления, которые будут нужны в больнице, которые в больнице можно получить за длительное время, в программе Киберпациент можно получить за гораздо более короткое время. Таким образом улучшается клиническое мышление, уровень принятия решений, так как они принимаются ежеминутно. Те люди, которые занимаются в данной программе, будут более эффективными докторами в будущем. И еще один момент, который следует учитывать, это стоимость медицины, которая является достаточно высокой. Если вы, например, решите, что нужно пациента оставить на еще 2 дня в больнице, это будет стоить достаточно дорого. То есть это тоже принятие решения, которое тоже должно быть наработано, и это и есть клиническое мышление.
How many of you knows CAN-MED competencies?
Сколько из вас знает
Just raise your hands. CAN-MED competencies.
про компетенции CAN-MED?
Yeah. So CAN-MED competencies. Okay. So CAN-MED competencies is something that was developed by Royal College of Physicians and Surgeons of Canada, and what it means is that we believe in Canada that a doctor, an expert, should not be just an expert doctor. He should be also a good communicator, a good advocate. It should be a good leader. It should be also a good scientist. So a doctor should have much more values than just knowing medicine.
Эти компетенции КАНМЕЦ были разработаны Международным Королевским колледжем врачей и хирургов Канады, которые подразумевают, что доктор – это не только эксперт в медицине, но доктор – это также коммуникатор, адвокат здоровья, лидер, ученый, и врач – это нечто большее, чем просто медицинский работник.
So cyber patient actually supports the CANMED competencies as well.
И вот киберпациент как раз является поддерживающей платформой для этих компетенций.
If you're not tired, I can talk a little bit about the pedagogical values of cyber patient. So the first two, student-centered and competency-based. Do you guys know about student-centered education, competency-based education? So student-centered education is that people don't give you what to study. You know your weaknesses. You just go and study for your weaknesses. So you are the one who's making decision what to read today and what to read tomorrow. And so cyber patient will provide you 120 cases. It's up to you to choose which one. If you're in the rotation of surgery, you go and choose your surgery rotation. If you're in rotation of medicine, you choose your medical cases and before going to the clerkship or something, right? And competency-based education is when it's not objective-based, it's competency milestones-based. So if like for example, in our medical school, all the students who graduates our medical school should have 56 competencies. So from suturing to IV injection to this and that, so all practical knowledge. So delivering a baby and so on. So all those competencies you should have. So cyber patient actually delivers all those competencies. So it is competency-based, student-centered program or platform. So the other pedagogical, yes.
Те педагогические ценности, которые лежат как раз в основе КАНМЕЦ, это студентоцентрированное обучение, когда преподаватели не дают студентам информацию, которую им, может быть, не нужна, а студенты сами изучают ту информацию, которая им нужна. Они знают свои слабые стороны, знают, где им нужно потянуть знания, и берут именно те курсы, те модули, или в киберпациенте, например, те манипуляции, которые они знают плохо или еще не овладели которыми. Второй пункт – это компетентностно-ориентированное обучение, когда обучение ведется на основе компетенций, то есть есть 56 выделенных компетенций от того, как правильно проводить инъекции, до того, как правильно принимать роды, и студенты в ходе своего обучения должны овладеть всеми данными компетенциями.
Now, we talked a little bit about the style of learning, right? Cyber patient accommodates style of learning, so I don't want to repeat that again. Improve decision-making abilities. So what do you think, guys, a competent physician makes a decision, a diagnostic or management decision? How he's doing it? What kind of thinking, what kind of cognitive function are available there for him to do that? So people are calling for 4 different type of thinking. There is reduced thinking, dispersed thinking, elaborated thinking, and compiled thinking. Reduced thinking is like when the student doesn't know nothing and comes and try to do something, but no knowledge whatsoever. So we're not going to talk about that. Dispersed thinking is that you learn something, but you don't know how to apply it. That most people are in that case, right? But what we value in medical education and we value in medical practice is elaborated thinking. Elaborated thinking is by deductive reasoning. So you take history and you take in the history you find the important information, and then you go look for the clues in the body of the patient, and then you do the investigation, you put all this together, and then you come to a decision, right? And it takes time for people to do that because, and you have to do it thoroughly, right? And deductive reasoning is not easy. Now, students do deductive reasoning. That's why it takes 2, 3 hours, 4 hours to investigate a patient to come to a conclusion. But a doctor who worked already 5 years in the clinics, he does that within 15 minutes. Why? Because he is becoming ignorant to the patient? No, it's because he is working on the level of compiled thinking. Compiled thinking is based on recall, recognition, memory. Maybe I should stop here because...
Yes, for sure. Есть различные типы мышления. И следующий, 4-й пункт как раз направлен на него. Это улучшение способности принимать решения. Имеется 4 различных типа принятия решений. Первый – это урезанный тип, когда у человека нет каких-либо знаний, и он на основании отсутствия знаний не может принять никакое решение. Мы не будем на нем останавливаться. Следующий уровень – это дисперсное мышление, когда человек что-то знает, но не умеет это применять в жизни. На нем мы также не останавливаемся. Следующий уровень, который нам интересен, это элаборативное знание, когда люди уже имеют причинно-следственные связи, то есть в чем смысл данного уровня? Это проявляется у студентов, когда они, например, имеют историю болезни, имеют пациента, они потом на основании истории болезни решают, какие анализы нужно назначить, какие процедуры применить, и весь этот процесс от начала и до завершения, когда уже будет готов диагноз, обычно занимает 2-3 часа. Это достаточно длительный процесс в первое время у студентов, но это то, как ведется процесс образования. Но если, например, студентам на это нужно 2-3 часа, то врачам, которые имеют большой опыт, хватает на все про все 15 минут. В чем же различие между этими двумя уровнями мышления? Это как раз-таки врачи уже находятся на 4-м уровне мышления, который
Compiled thinking. Compiled thinking.
Компилированное. Получается, уже они все собирают у себя в голове.
So, compiled thinking is because if you've seen 1,000 patients coming through the door with coughing and sneezing and so on, so as soon as you come and say, okay, I know what the problem is, so you 4, 5, 6 questions and you come to conclusion. So because of your experience that you have, right? In this is done by experience, right? Now, what cyber patient would do for you is that you don't have to wait 5 years to get that experience. Because, for me, I'm a cardiac surgeon, for me to, cardiac surgeon sitting there, for us to make a patient ready, it takes time to do all the investigations, the cardiologist and comes and so on. So pathologies that goes through us is very rare. And it takes time to make our decisions. While in cyber patient, everything is ready. You can make within 15 minutes, go through the whole continuum of care of a patient. So you can see actually thousands of patients with no time and get the experience. Of course, it would be different experience than the life experience, but it would be something, it would be better than not having the experience. So in the compiled thinking, actually is based pedagogically speaking or psychologically speaking, it's based on transfer of learning. There is a difference between transfer of learning and transfer of knowledge. Transfer of knowledge is from one person to another person. Like right now, I learn from you, you learn from me. That's transfer of knowledge. But transfer of learning It's from the same person to the same person. It's how your previous experience would affect your new experience, new things that you're learning. But if you got a lot of those experiences in the past, then it doesn't matter for your brain. It doesn't matter if you see it in cyberspace or in real life. Your brain would have the fast decision-making process based on the experience it got. It's a transfer of learning. So it's cyber patient is based on transfer of learning.
Этот компилированный уровень, наивысший, как раз достигается тем, что у врачей уже имеется достаточно большой пул пациентов, через них уже прошло, например, 1000 пациентов с кашлем, с какими-то другими специфическими симптомами, и они уже через 4 или 6 вопросов могут все понять, поставить верный диагноз, и у них есть опыт принятия данных решений, они сразу все понимают. Используя программу Киберпациент, вам не нужно работать эти 5 лет для того, чтобы через вас прошло 1000 пациентов. Там гораздо быстрее все проходит. Я, например, кардиохирург, и даже подготовка пациента к какой-то операции занимает достаточно много времени. То есть я, например, могу иметь всего несколько пациентов в день, тогда как в программе Киберпациент вы можете иметь очень много пациентов в день, и вот эту вот наработку опыта, она будет проходить гораздо быстрее. Это будет другой опыт, но это лучше, чем ничего, и это будет опыт, который будет откладываться у вас в мозгу. И этот феномен как раз основан на трансфере знания и обучения. Это разные понятия. Трансфер знаний – это когда знания передаются от человека к человеку. Трансфер обучения – это когда ты сравниваешь свое обучение с собой же, то есть это трансфер знаний от тебя к тебе будущему. И когда вы имеете много опыта, когда вы очень много используете какие-то манипуляции, когда через вас много информации проходит, у вас все это откладывается, и вот как раз этот опыт на 4-м уровне мышления у вас развивается.
A few words about the future of cyber patients. So let's, before talking about the future, say what we have now. We have 130 cases that are based on LMCC objectives. LMCC is the exam, the Medical Council of Canada examination. We have specific objectives. So based on those objectives, we made all these cases. And then we have 4 different levels. We have level 1 for third year. For you, it's third year. In Canada, it will be first year. Third year medical school. The skill tool 2 is for the second. 3 is for third. And 4 is for the graduates, for people who knows medicine very well. It's just different difficulties when you don't want people overwhelm people. Okay, so it has different type of thing. And also, I think if some of you been here when I talked in the conference about examinations and type of examination, I talked about EPAs. EPA stands for Intrustable Professional Activities. It's a new way of, in North America at least, new way of looking how a student is ready to go to practice. Okay, so there is 12 EPAs for students for graduation, and after graduation in North America, they're looking for 12 EPAs in Canada, 13 EPAs in the United States. So taking that into serious consideration, because it needs a lot of doctors to do. EPAs are about everything, about how you talk to the patient. It's how about you do the physical examination of the patient. How do you talk to the family of the patient? How you talk to the nurse down the road? How do you talk to the radiology department? So it's a 360 evaluation of the students. How do you write the chart? And it is very time consuming. That's why it's not applied yet. Everybody's thinking how to apply it. We in Cyber Patient actually made this electronic available. So you can just sharpen your EPAs before going to any exams. You can just do it with closed eyes. We have microphones. You can talk to the patient, and then you can compare that to the expert. What expert would say to the patient. If a patient has let's say a cancer, right? And you have to talk to the family of the patient. So you go and talk to the family of the patient, and then later on, you would compare yourself. The machine would give you a comparison to an expert, how the expert would say it. And if you do that 10 times, you go to the clinics, you know how to talk to the family of the patient.
Вы здесь можете на этом слайде видеть, из чего состоит киберпациент. В киберпациенте есть 130 различных кейсов, которые основаны на рекомендациях медицинского совета Канады. Также имеется 4 уровня. Первый уровень соответствует первому курсу канадских студентов, у нас это 3-й курс. 4-й уровень соответствует выпускникам, то есть это самый сложный уровень. Кто был на конференции по образованию, уже слышал про EPA, это интерперсональные активности, которые оцениваются у студентов. Имеется 12 различных вот этих вот EPA, которые показывает, насколько студент готов быть выпускником и насколько готов работать. Эти активности включают в себя то, как правильно общаться с пациентом, как правильно проводить манипуляции, как правильно говорить с медсестрой, как предоставлять информацию в департамент по радиологии. Эти все EPA включают в себя 360 различных уровней, подпунктов. Это очень долго и очень сложно. В киберпациенте же все данные EPA включены уже в данную систему и находятся в электронном виде. То есть, если вы хотите оценить свою способность говорить, например, с пациентом, у которого рак, вы хотите сообщить ему данную весть, у вас есть микрофон, вы можете проговорить это, записать, и машина сравнит вашу запись, вашу речь с речью эксперта и даст вам свое заключение, насколько данная речь соответствует эталонной речи эксперта.
So now we are in the process of doing more. It's just not 130 cases. It's not. It's just the beginning, you know, and the level of the medical students. What we are doing right now, working our research group, we got at least $100,000 grant from National Research of Canada to make it voice activated. Right now, you will see when I demo Cyber Patient, you have to click for the patient to answer your question. To activate the avatars inside, you have to click them. But we are working now toward talking to them. So you can just say, stand up, turn around, please tell me where is the pain, like you can talk to that. We're now in the process of doing that. The next thing that we are doing is automatization of cyber patient creation. So we are now building an avatar, a serious avatar with all the physiological parameters that any doctors, such as my friend there, can see a very important case that he would think that students would learn from it very fast. He can go to his computer within half an hour, change those parameters to the parameters that his patient has, and he can save it as a new patient, and the whole world will look at it. So it's going to be that fast automatization. And then we have the other problem. Okay, you remember I told you about the problem of medical education. The first one was the discrepancy between theory and practice of medicine, the gap. The second is between individual training, credentialing, and teamwork. We are all nurses, doctors, respirologists, everybody is we're all separately studying. We have separate institutions, separate curricula, right? And we're credentialed separately, individually. But when we come to the hospital, we have to work as a team. So how can you do that? I always say to my students, in the 70s, in my time, this was a long time ago, they made a football team from the best players of the world. Pelé was actually playing in that play from Brazil, playing in that team. And that team that was consisting of the best football players, they lost to everyone. Because individually they were very good players, but as a team they could not function well. So we have the major problem we have in the hospital is that we're coming as an emergency call. We're coming. There's a nurse, there's a doctor, there's a team leader, there's an anesthesiologist. We can communicate with each other. In lots of problems arise from that. So what we are trying to do now is another project that we have. We are working. Actually, last night I was talking about this for 3.5 hours with my students. We have 6 students working on it, and 2 of my technologists. We try to build an avatar that the team from different parts of the world, the nurse could be in Russia, the doctor could be in Africa, so you can work on that patient with a trauma, whatever problems it has, heart attack. They can work together as a team, and they can communicate, and then they go sit down in a room and debrief and talk to each other what went wrong and what we can do next time to make it better. So that's another project. And then also we use interactive avatar. So the other project that we haven't started yet, but we are going to start, is that when the NASA find out about our project, they have long-term missions to space for 40, 50 years. And then they say, okay, well, in the mission, they have very healthy crew. They don't get sick, and the doctor would lose his competencies, right? And so they have to have some technology so that the doctor can practice when they're there. So they ask us to see if we can adapt our technology to the long-term missions in space.
И что планируется создать в ближайшее время в программе «Киберпациент»? Первое – это автоматизированное… Это то, что сейчас у нас есть 130 кейсов, но это только начало. Мы собираемся больше наращивать количество кейсов и увеличивать количество киберпациентов. Наша группа на данный момент получила грант, и мы хотим научиться активировать аватары не нажатием мышки, а голосом. То есть можно будет сказать киберпациенту «встаньте», он встанет. Если ему сказать, где болит, он будет показывать, где у него болит, или рассказывать это. Следующий пункт – это автоматизация создания киберпациента. Сейчас уже ведется работа над аватаром, которого можно будет изменить. Например, один человек создал какой-то аватар с определенным набором функций, другой человек может взять за основу данный аватар, изменить какие-то его показатели, какие-то функции, и через 30 минут у него будет готов уже новый аватар, новый киберпациент. Следующий пункт – это проблема теории и практики, проблема индивидуальной и групповой работы. То есть имеется разрыв в теории и практике, который мы сейчас уже преодолеваем, но также имеется разрыв в индивидуальной и групповой работе. То есть люди учатся сами принимают решения, но при этом работа в больнице – это всегда групповая работа, нужно играть в команде. Здесь был пример, когда, например, собирали команду из футболистов, которые сами по себе все были хорошими, но играя в команде, они проигрывали все свои игры. Да, они все хороши сами по себе, но команда из них никакая. Поэтому нужно как раз наращивать командность и навык работы в команде. Мы не можем общаться друг с другом, и из-за этого возникают проблемы. То есть будет создан специальный аватар, сейчас уже 6 человек работают над созданием данного аватара, где будет возможность групповой работы. Групповая работа подразумевает под собой, что, например, один человек из данной группы может быть из Канады, другой из России, третий еще из какой-то страны, и при этом они будут принимать решения и взаимодействовать друг с другом в команде, потом смогут сделать дебрифинг и обсудить, что они делали так, что они делали не так, что лучше улучшить. Следующий пункт – это то, что НАСА, когда узнали про наш проект, они приняли его на вооружение и сказали, можно ли применять, спросили, можно ли применять данную технологию также и в космосе по отношению к экипажу.
Thank you. So I'm not going to talk about this a lot because we talked about a lot of this already. I have to tell you that we are expanding horizontally and vertically. So we are building cyber patient for residency training program. We're building cyber patient complex cases. We're building cyber patient for nurses, and also even for K to 12 students who wants to go to medicine.
Я могу отметить, что мы расширяемся, программа Киберпациент растет вширь, ввысь. Мы создаем новые программы для резидентов, для медицинских сестер, для других программ, для более сложных кейсов.
So when I give talk anywhere, I want everybody to know that my mentor and my professor was Yuri Nikolaevich Makhnyuk. You can see it here. It was the day when I got my PhD, and this is my wife. And I'm always thankful in my heart. I never see him again, but I want to see his picture all the time because he is my role model. Yuri Nikolaevich Makhnyuk.
So, на данном слайде вы можете видеть фотографию. Я всегда ее показываю, когда даю какие-либо лекции. Это мой наставник, мой профессор, который являлся моим научным руководителем, Юрий Николаевич Махнюк, который в то время был деканом. И слева от меня на этой фотографии вы можете видеть мою жену.
So so that is, I think that would finish our presentation. And now I'm going to demonstrate for you the cyber patient. Please be patient with me because the system is not complete yet. The system is in progress, and every day they're changing codes and changing and adding things. Once they add things, then things go crazy. And so you can get the whole picture, maybe overall picture. But if last night, up until 2:30, I was working with my staff in Vancouver because they were pushing a lot of new things, and they said that it might have destabilized the system. But by June, July, when we are going to bring here for beta testing, that's going to be the stable one. So with your permission, then I'm just going to go and sit here because we had a lot of problems with technology here to show this.
На этом я завершу свою презентацию и позвольте мне продолжить с демонстрацией киберпациента. Прошу вас быть терпеливыми, потому что программа сейчас находится в стадии развития, она меняется. Совсем недавно, только буквально этой ночью, также были проведены большие изменения в данной программе, и они могли немного дестабилизировать систему, поэтому в случае возникновения каких-либо неполадок, пожалуйста, прошу отнестись к этому с терпением. И мы надеемся, что уже в июле-июне программа будет проходить бета-тестирование и станет стабильной и будет работать хорошо.
So as I said, cyber patient is on the cloud, Amazon cloud actually, and you can just go. You have everybody should have a password to go through it. So you do your password, and the first thing you see is the dashboard. So what is in the dashboard? As you can see, the assignments, how much score you got in your assignments, and the scores are done for your knowledge, for your time, and for the cost, how much it costs to the system, the patient that you're taking care of. And here is all the names and deadlines, the pathologies, names of the patient, deadlines and pathologies that are assigned to you. So by this deadline, your teacher would say that you do it. If you do it on your own, then you have your own deadline and your own ways to do things, right? So in here, you have then data for 3 at least months for a semester. How did you improve with respect to your knowledge, clinical knowledge, respect to the cost of medicine, and how much faster you get to make clinical decision.
Если вы заходите на данную платформу, она находится на облаке на Амазоне, вам нужно под своим логином и паролем зайти, и здесь вы видите такую своеобразную доску, то есть приветственную страницу, где вы можете увидеть свои последние достижения. Это баллы за знания, за время и баллы за стоимость тех операций и назначений, которые вы провели. Также здесь представлены имена последних ваших пациентов, дедлайны по данным пациентам и из какой они категории. Если прокрутить чуть пониже, то вы можете увидеть данные за 3 месяца, то есть это за 1 семестр. Вы можете увидеть прогресс в улучшении своих знаний, в том, насколько вы более дешевые или дорогие назначали операции, интервенции, и насколько вы быстрее или медленнее стали проходить через данные манипуляции.
Also in here, you can compare yourself with the average of other people, because you want to know, like, if I'm that bad or everybody. It's a difficult case and everybody is not doing well. So also we provide that kind of information for you.
Также вы здесь можете сравнить свои полученные результаты со средними результатами, то есть узнать, это вы настолько плохо решили данное задание, или это все с этим заданием плохо справились, или наоборот хорошо.
Okay, now if we go to start, we can hopefully hopefully it's gonna.
Hello, I'm Dr. Smith. I'm the on-call doctor today. Hello, Dr. Smith.
So now you want to know information about.
What is your name and age? My name is Lillian McKay and I'm 52. What is your occupation? I'm a teacher.
It's exactly done the way we do it in the clinics. So we can just go into for chief complaint.
What seems to be the problem today? I have pain in my belly.
So, and then we're going to the medical history.
When did the pain start? 4 days ago, after consuming lunch. How did the pain start? Suddenly or gradually? Gradually. What were you doing when the pain started? I was sitting at my desk, working. Is the pain related to any particular position? No. Is the pain getting better? No. Is the discomfort relieved by rest? No.
So you can just look at, read the
Where was the
questions
pain when it started?
and see,
Right in the middle part of my belly.
and see which one are
What
related.
does the pain feel like? It's like a tight band.
So because there's a lot of red herring questions that you should not ask, and there is an intelligent tutoring system sits in the back of this machine and calculates all your mistakes that you're making, and then give it to you back in the end. So you have to make sure that you
Where
ask
is
the
the
right
pain
question.
now? It is midline and on the right under my ribs. Has the character of the pain changed since it first started? It's getting sharper. How severe is the pain now, on a scale of 1 to 10, where 10 is the worst pain you ever had? It's about an 8.
So I don't want to go through all the questions. It's just a demo for you, just to have an understanding for the interest of time. So you can just go back and have all other part of the history, the past medical history.
Have you had any illness in your childhood? No. Do you have history of any other illnesses? No. Are you currently sexually active? Yes.
You want to translate? Okay, sure.
Таким образом, вы здесь можете видеть этот симулятор, по которому можно задать различные вопросы. Вопросы начинаются с личных, про возраст, про пол, про то, кем и где работаете, потом переходите к вопросам по истории болезни, какие были у нее до этого болезни, какой характер боли у нее сейчас, когда она появилась, после чего, это постепенная или непостепенная боль, она зависит от позиции или не зависит, и таким образом отвечая на все эти вопросы могут быть, ну, то есть принимается потом решение, насколько вы правильно будете принимать решение о назначении того или иного лечения.
Has anybody in your family had a similar problem or condition? No. Could you give me the age and cause of death of any immediate relative? They're all alive and healthy. Is there any other medical condition in your family that I should be aware of? No.
So, and then you go to the social story,
Do you smoke? No. Do you drink alcohol? No. What are your leisure activities? Photography. Do you have any issues in your personal life that you want to share with me? No. Thanks for asking. How often do you exercise? Daily. Do you normally follow the safety rules? Yes.
So, so you go through the whole, all the steps of the history taking, and then once you finish that, you go click here to go for physical examination.
Thanks for the information. At this time, I would like to do a physical examination. Please let me know if you feel uncomfortable.
То есть после того, как вы зададите все эти вопросы, вы приступаете к осмотру.
So you have tools here on this side, as you can see there. You have tools on this side, the position of the patient, different kind of things, so that you can do your examination like you do it in the emergency room or in your office, right? So here, for example, we have a zoom in, because I try to make it very realistic. When you're examining the patient, you just go closer to the part of the patient that you examine, right? So that's why you see here now it shows which part you can see. You can see her hands, you can see her foot, you can see her head. In the head, for example, you can just go and look into her eyes. Now we can change this into any pathology you want, right? You can go to see inside of her hair. You can just ask her to open her mouth to see that. You can even look at the nostrils. Sorry. So yeah, you can look at the temperature. You can look at the weight of the patient. You can look at the breathing, so how often she breathes. You can measure the blood pressure, like by doing it actually in a real life. You release the button, and then listen now. You can tell me how much. That's the systolic and that's the diastolic pressure. So, and you can do whatever. Now we can also listen to her maybe heart. We'll just go and take the stethoscope, and we can. I think that's not the heart. That's the speaker here. It shouldn't sound like that. Yeah, that's the speaker. I'm sorry about that speaker. So if you go to the back and look at her lungs, I think this speaker is not very friendly. So that's a bronchial sound, but here's the real normal sound. And if you put the scope here, there's nothing. So inside this avatar, all the organs are placed in the right place, and you can examine everything properly. So let's say this patient was asking, problem with her abdomen, and see if she has a. So there is some abdominal sound. Let's look.
Please let me know if you feel any pain.
A superficial palpation.
Yes, that's where the pain is. Please let me know if you feel any pain.
So deep palpation. You see her hand is going down inside her skin.
Ow, that really hurt.
You can do the percussion. So you can do auscultation and everything else. So all the methods of investigation is here. You can do anything you want. So let's say if we go and do some special tests because she was complaining for a right side, right, upper abdomen, and let's say if we go for Murphy's sign to see if she has a problem. So every examination that you can think of
when I do this?
is programmed here.
Ouch, that really hurts.
And it's positive if the pathology is there, it's negative when the pathology is not there. So assuming that we did all that, I don't know if you noticed, there is also a search engine. So the students who are in a different level, they can just go and search questions, search anything they want. So they don't have to go through the lists. So let's say...
After examining your patient, do you believe they require any immediate care? What is your provisional diagnosis?
So you might have some ideas about some issues that the patient might have, right?
Please select the lab tests that you require.
So you just go and do the lab tests. Let's say you want to do some blood tests, right? Because some CBC analysis, and you just go there and all the parameters comes right away for you. So you don't have to wait and talk to the lab. Where is the parameters? Where is my? So here you can see the white blood cells is 20, right? You close that. You can just go do the electrolytes panel and see, and you can see all the electrolyte, and you compare it to the normals. So I don't want to take much of your time and just go a little bit faster here. And then if you go to diagnostic tests again, so you have also imaging. For imaging, let's say you want to do the X-ray. If the patient goes for surgery, maybe we need chest X-ray. So you have the chest X-ray there. Maybe she needs the abdominal X-ray. So you got it. Let's say go back and see what other diagnostic tests we can do. CT scan. Maybe we just do the CT scan of the abdomen. Here. Oh no. Sorry. My hands are so
upper.
sticky. Huh?
It was upper abdomen and something.
Abdomen here?
Yes. Here.
Oh
abdomen.
yeah, here. Abdomen, pelvis. Okay. And without contrast. See here? Now you can just go and make your decision on the basis of the information you get from this CT scan. So once we do that, we submit the lab test. What is your final diagnosis? So if you say something wrong, it would not let you go and would tell you.
Incorrect. Please try again.
So, but if you go, it's yeah, and then you get.
That's correct. How would you like to proceed?
So, want to put her in the hospital.
What would be your management plan for this patient?
So we're gonna perhaps do surgery on her.
What type of invasive management do you prefer?
So let's say we do surgery.
Please select the operations you would like to perform.
So it's let's say cholecystectomy, open if possible. This I had a problem last night, so we'll see. So before going to surgery, you have to make decisions now on how she could be active or passive, and active as tolerated. Then you choose that. What would be her diet? Because she is going to surgery. She has to be NPO, right? Should not eat anything. Then there's the monitoring. You can do continuous monitoring or manual monitoring. If you go for manual monitoring, you choose, for example, you want to have the ECG, you want to have the systolic blood pressure, you want to have the respiration, or any other ones, you know. And when you then if you put that, it's in here. So if you go now click in here, you have all the parameters, you know, and then also you got your ECG for the patient. So now if you for respiration, she doesn't need machine, so she goes for room air, and then for output monitoring, she doesn't need any output. She's a very simple surgery. So now she is she's going for surgery, or something happened here. So let me reboot the system to see. That's what I told you, that they are doing a lot of work last night and had a problem. Oh, I have to go through this again. Sorry about that. Oh, I think maybe we didn't choose this. Diet and pure monitoring, manual ECG. Okay. Now you have to give some medicine to this patient, right? Because she's going for surgery. So you can just go there and choose. We have about 3,500 medications here. So we can do perhaps morphine. We can give her, let's say, 2 units. And we would do it PRN, as per need basis. And then we can also do maybe Cipro, right? Ciprofloxacin, yeah. So this is 500 tablets, and we will give her 1 unit for the hospital, and she would have it twice a day. And then we go further than that. So she might need some fluid. We can just give her some fluid, dextran and water, let's say for 24 hours. We gave her maybe 3,500, and for 24 hours, and that's it. We submit that, and then they're asking now, decisions are making, we're all making decisions, right? So consultation, we need a general surgeon to see her, and then we also want an anesthesiologist to see her. So our consultation is done now. Now we have to go and perform the surgery. So here you got now, you can take the scalpel and just go and cut the skin, and then take the cautery and go deeper. All the layers of the tissue are perfectly designed and anatomically right. And in only the steps of surgery, because in my opinion, the most important thing for students to know which instrument you need for which steps of the surgery. So we open the peritoneum and making a neck. Now we just go and do a dissection. Usually it's not that easy, and we cut the bile duct, and then we ligate the bile duct, and then we go in the cystic artery, and then we cut the cystic artery and ligate it, and then you see there is an adhesion here. Maybe it's going to be difficult to take this gallbladder out if we don't take that adhesion out. Now we can take the gallbladder and free it from the lever side, and then we can cauterize the fundus and take the gallbladder out. Here, now we can just go and sew this. As my professor said once, the difference between a surgeon and a butcher is that the surgeon cuts layer by layer and sews back layer by layer. A butcher cuts and doesn't sew back. So now we go to the next layer. Oh, God, what happened? Oh, it was green and I was so happy that it was green. And something happened. I think my hand is very sticky.
Would you like to continue in the hospital or discharge the patient?
So if we want to continue in the hospital, we keep
Please
the patient in the
review
ward.
this below and design your plan for this patient today.
So we have to inquire, do the physical examination, look for complications, general order. We should look for medication and procedures. Once you've done
Good
that,
morning. How are you doing today? Do you have any pain? Yes, at the operation site.
so you can do all the things again, x-rays, lab tests, everything you want, give fluids, everything you know. I just, for the interest of time, I'm just going faster to finish this. Now, since there is no complication here, then we can move forward.
Would you like to continue in the hospital or discharge the patient?
We discharge the patient, and then she's going to go home. Here, we have to recommend her to be active as tolerated, right? And also to eat whatever she likes to eat. It doesn't have to be in a certain diet, but she has to go to a dietitian. But we have to give her some medication because if you remember, we gave her some antibiotics, but she has to go home now. We can give her some antibiotics for another 5 days, and then she is on her way. And then we can give her a recommendation on what to do. Perhaps it's good to do a dietary modification, not to eat ugly things. And then we can tell her to go to the family physician in a week. And when it's done,
you are looking much better. You may go home now. Please try again.
So here now, I told you that the tutoring system that was sitting at the back is giving you that our score is knowledge is 55, but we didn't ask all the questions and didn't do everything right. It took 21 minutes, and also we spent about $5,300 to do this patient. So you can see here, you can look at each individual, like history taking, physical examination, scores, and so on and so forth. Let's say if you go history taking, you can go into the depth of it, and in here you would have not just a score, but you would have what questions did we ask, what are the questions we were not supposed to be asking, and what are the questions that actually we're supposed to be asking. What were the gold standard there for this kind of cases? So you can also do like the physical examination, the investigations. So we got a score of 33 because these are the things that we did, and these are the things that we were supposed to be doing, and so on and so forth. So the management also, it gives you like where the patient management follow-up, everything. It gives you all the details, how much you had the score. We get the diagnosis, one right and one wrong. What was the diagnosis there here? Let me see, what is the diagnosis? Diagnosis here. So we did, see here, we did one right and one, the provisional diagnosis we did 100%, but on final diagnosis we did one wrong and one right. It shows we did two choices, and the second choice was the right choice. So this is the machine assessment of your performance that would be in your portfolio. You are going to have here a portfolio that would give you all the cyber patient activities that you have in there, and also give you, there are more like APAs. So it is a final scores that includes APA 1 to APA 12, as well as the scoring by machine. So you would have a general score that consists of both scoring. So at this point, I would say thank you very much for your patience. You may have some time for questions. I don't think that you have to translate all that because it was very easy to talk. Okay.
Есть ли...
It's not that I was waiting for that, no.
А сейчас, есть ли у вас какие-либо вопросы, пожалуйста, не стесняйтесь, задавайте.
First of all, how do you like it? Yes. To learn practical knowledge. It's not about theory. It's all about practice, making decisions. Should we put patient in the hospital or not? Should we send them home? We do have to think why. And there's also the chart, the patient chart I didn't show you. So you have to write everything in the chart. So you learn how to do the chart like in the hospital. I remember first time I went to the hospital and they asked me to write the chart. I didn't know from where to start. You know?
So we can access this for free?
Yeah. That's a good question. Your university, yes, not other people. We have a panel of experts. We have people who create cases, and then we have a panel of experts. If you go to our website, you can see the names and the credentials of those people. This from the president of the American Association of Surgeons, to the CEO of Royal College, to professors of surgery, heads of the department. So they're a very solid group behind it to validate the process. Yes?
And when we can test it by ourselves? When it will be finished?
Oh, so you are going to have this, we're going to, so the dean's office, or the prorector's office actually is doing this. They're going to register about 200 of you for beta testing. And it will be about July. So whoever wants to do the beta testing should go and put your names there. Yeah. And in September, it will be available for everyone. Yes?
Thank you very much for your presentation. This product is very, very complicated, right? And I think many people have this idea to try to make this program, but very few have the courage and resources to do it. At this point, it looks very functional, but are there still some challenges? I'm just interested, my personal interest. If you are at this point, you are satisfied with the functionality, and what are the biggest challenges for this product? Are there still any concerns for you, or you are completely satisfied with the progress of this project?
I'm never satisfied with anything, ever. If you satisfy, you die. So it's you. Of course, we're looking for progress to make it better and bigger. As I told you in the lecture part, we have plans to change things and to make things better and better. We like to have opinion of students. We like to have opinion of professors. We have contracts signed with 6 major universities around the world in a partnership. In your university is one of them, for the purpose of making it better, making it easier, making it more smoother, tackling problems that are And as the technology develops, we will make it much better. As I told you, we're going to have the voice-activated systems very soon. Maybe in 2 years, we're going to have totally voice-activated, so you don't have to click anything. So so there are people. Some people believes more in making things fancy, and they all failed. It's because I have been an instructional designer for about 30 years. So in my books, it's important to know what technology and what amount of money delivers your learning objectives. Not how fancy it looks and how fancy things it makes, 3Ds and things like that. You spend 3 times more money, but the same learning objectives. We have back home this expression. You say that knot that you can open with your fingers, don't open it with your tooth. So a lot of people, they do that. It is because they don't have any idea about instructional design. Yeah, I have to, for those of you who are new here today, I have to tell you that yesterday was one of the best days of my being here because of 2 experiences I had, outstanding experiences. One was when I met a group of students that he is part of that, and perhaps many other more. I never encountered a group of talented, enthusiastic, and smart, bright young people, and I was like feeling so good amongst them. I felt that I got younger, and they challenged me, they talked to me, and I loved them so much. It was one of the best experiences, and I have to officially thank you all again for participating in the study yesterday and for criticizing and for expressing your opinion. And the second was when I went to see a ballet last night, and it was surprising to me that it was extremely beautiful ballet, because it was about a fantasy story, a fantasy story, a folk story of Tatarian origin, which was beautiful. For me, it was like outstanding. And I was thinking, why it was about the love, and in the end, the love prevails over the freedom, because she burns her wings because she was in love. In real life, it doesn't happen. but what was I was amazed by that how much the Takai, right, Abdullah Tokai, how much deep he was thinking when he was writing this. It's not just about this skaska. It was, when I was looking at it, and I was thinking, what he's telling me, at least my understanding, that the Tatarian village people could accept even a bird who turned into a human being and protect that person and live with that person. It's telling me about the tolerance, about loving each other, about loving humanity. It gives me a lot more messages than just the skaska, there were the beautiful dances, beautiful dresses, beautiful music, outstanding music, but the philosophical message that he gave me, I was in my tears, to tell you the truth, because it's the prejudice that brings the world down to it's the prejudice, and even at that time, in a village in Tatarstan, people did not have prejudice. The mother and father loved that girl so much, and he was so generous to say, okay, if you don't love me, go wherever you go, right? And then she come back, and she thought, I'm better with this love than with my wings. But actually, it was a beautiful 2 experience I had with my students in the morning and in the evening with the theater, ballet theater. And thank you very much. If you have any other questions, you can always email me, talk to me. You can get my email from Andre is going to be, he's going to come to Vancouver to organize research on this study. So we're connected to each other. And now I know after this valley why I'm so welcomed in Tatarstan. It's because it's tradition, it's the nature of the people. And thank you very much.
Thank you.